What about the time of day that you take some of your cholesterol meds if you are taking them, or if you're taking fish oil, let's say? Is there a better time of day to take that? Some people say, oh, take it at night. And others say, no, take it in the morning. Or haven't you heard about that?
I say to people, you take it whenever you can remember to take it. So for me, I leave all my little supplements that I take next to my toothbrush.
Yeah.
And that way I remember every morning to take what I need to take. For me personally, if I had to wait till the end of the day, I wouldn't want to take it.
Yeah.
Some people do prefer taking those types of products in the evening because they get nauseous. So if they take it right before they go to bed, it can be helpful. But certain things, so for example, like I was mentioning, the coral white plant sterols, those are most effective when not necessarily taken in one dose, when they're taken at least twice during the day. Because what they do is they help to block absorption of cholesterol from your intestines. So that needs to actually be in your system sort of before the food comes in. But you know what's so interesting is that for the amount of information that we have about how to prevent heart disease, how to lower and reduce our cholesterol levels, we just are not doing a good job of it in this country.
No, we don't seem to be, do we?
No, I mean, heart disease is still the number one killer among men and women especially.
Now, if you would, Dr. Stoler, go over some of the myths that people have been talking about when it comes to cholesterol. Because, you know, the internet is wonderful, but it's a dangerous thing because people get a little bit of information and all of a sudden they've gone to medical school and done their residency when they, by reading two lines. So
it gives new meaning to the word WebMD, right?
Exactly. So tell me a few myths that people got to stop saying this stuff. So what things are myths?
Okay, I'll give you an easy one. Shellfish has, high cholesterol, so people think they shouldn't have cholesterol, right?
Mm.
So what we know is that shrimp as shellfish is higher in cholesterol than other animal foods are, but it is still considered lean because there's not very much fat on it, and it is low in saturated fat, which is really important to recognize because what we found is that high levels of saturated fat are what are harmful to us. So trans fats, we know, for the most part have been eliminated because in 2006 it was required that they were provided on the food label, on the nutrition facts label. So the minute that had to be disclosed, food manufacturers scrambled to get all of their all their trans fats and out and reformulate their products so that they were either low or had no trans fats. Mm-hmm. So, for example, another myth is people say margarine is better than butter. You should never eat butter, and I would disagree with that because, again, butter is naturally on the fatter side, right? So it has some saturated fat in it, whereas margarine is partially hydrogenated. So there's some process there where you take what is otherwise a liquid and make it a solid at room temperature. So that's really what a trans fat was, but now it's not quite as bad as a trans fat. So we can break down the natural stuff that's in nature, so butter, a little bit better than, let's say, a margarine. But there are heart-healthy blends of margarine out there made with good things like olive oil and canola oil, and I think they are less they really try to be a little bit kinder to our bodies with the hydrogenation process, so that we can safely, consume them. But again, a little bit of butter, is fine. The other stuff just wants to be butter, so you can have small amounts of that.
I was going to ask, is it generally believed that processed foods not as good as what you find in nature?
Well, I always say go to nature first. Eat foods close to the way they're found in nature. However, there are foods that do come in packages, like, for example, frozen or canned vegetables, which can be just as good for you as the fresh stuff. So for some people, maybe because of where they live or their access to food or their work or they're on the go, maybe that's what they can access, right? Or that fits within their budget because people that are food insecure, that may be an easier way for them to buy produce. So you can't really snub your nose and tell people that they can't be healthy eating that stuff. They can, but there are healthier foods. You just have to read the label. I'm amazed at how so many foods in boxes and bags have improved over the last 15 plus years that I've been a dietitian.
Yeah. Well,
and I do find that you can healthy food doesn't have to take a long time to make or to prepare. So I'd like to give people the hope that they can stock their home with good ingredients and do something good for their health.
And finally, Dr. Stoler, people are saying, they just sort of throw up their hands because there's so much information out there that they think that there isn't anything good to eat. And would you say that they're looking at this whole thing wrong?
Yes.
Incorrectly,
yes,
I should say.
I'll give you my mantra is that diet and exercise are the least expensive, least invasive, and most effective ways to prevent and treat disease. And we have to stop making excuses and take responsibility for our health. We have one body, and the return on investment is there if you're willing to make the attempt. And healthy food tastes great. I am always sneaking things in on my friends when I like to entertain and on my family, and nobody complains that the food is blah in my house.
I bet they don't.
And, healthy food tastes good, and it's about trying new foods and trying new flavors. And, we have so much better access to food than when I was a kid. I mean, my mother and I laugh about the types of fruits and vegetables that we have available 12 months of the year when we used to really be seasonal. And, and the other thing, too, is I challenge people to go to farmers markets and buy local produce and see what's being grown in your area and try something new. Like I tried leeks this summer. Not that I've never had them before, but I've never cooked them before. So and the internet is great. I can look up recipes. I can look for what I do want as ingredients, what I don't want, what I do or don't want for, time-wise, how long something's going to take to make. And, try something new. And, and don't forget to exercise, too. That's the other really important factor, because exercise is really great for helping to increase HDL cholesterol, which ultimately helps to bring down your total cholesterol.